regarded as the largest in the world, I'm here with Mr. Elvin Farmer and the world's biggest pumpkin. Mr. Farmer, just by looking at it, it's the largest I've ever seen. Is there any special technique to growing one this large? Or can anyone grow a pumpkin this big?
Well, nothing special. I just talked to that one a little bit more than the other ones.
I see. Is there anything special that you say to this pumpkin?
Just everyday things special going on around the place. That's all.
Folks, the mystery of Mother Nature right here at work before our very eyes. Any special plans for this pumpkin, Mr. Farmer?
I'm gonna eat it. I like pie.
What a dear man. Well, I sure hope the pumpkin didn't hear you say that. This is Michelle Myers reporting live with Channel 11 News. Standing here live with Mr. Farmer and one huge but ill-fated pumpkin. Frank, back to you.
Thank you, Michelle, for that interesting bit of news. And now for a look at this weekend's weather.
Wow. Did that just happen?
Can I say something here? We all know it's my job as production manager to make sure we are doing what we are supposed to be doing, making money. We have to keep people watching the station. We're all going to get tossed out of here if those are the kind of stories you're doing.
You approved the story, Chris. It's not my fault the guy was a bit slow.
What you should have done is told that poor guy to go play out in the street and interviewed the pumpkin instead.
That's not nice.
Okay, look. I know this is not what I had hoped for, but come on. There's only so much real news happening around here.
Listen, I know where you're going, but it doesn't matter. No news equals no news reporters. Be creative. Don't wait for it to fall in your lap.
Giant killer pumpkins that eat farmers. I'd watch that.
See? Jake's my one-man think tank. Not bad with camera either.
Well, I'll tell you what. You see what kind of big news you can squeeze out old Tanky here, and have something for me on paper by tomorrow morning. I'm counting on you.
Do you think he really enjoys being a putz?
He's right, Jake. We're never gonna get anywhere with stories like that. I mean, how many people do you think fell asleep watching that crap?
Yeah, I only nodded off for, second, maybe two.
Yeah, me too. Jesus. So,
we need a story. Something that's gonna wake us up. Something that's gonna grab them by the short and curlies and wake them up.
here's to the short ones.
And here's to the curly ones.
Typical.
Okay, this is what I have so far. I was at the library all day today, so I was just typing up as many notes as I could. So
that's
bear
where you
with
were.
me. Yeah. Okay, we've got a story on Jack Prince. He was born of a wealthy family in Crestline, Ohio. They had this huge farm, all the money, all this land, and granted, this is back in the 1860s. and when he was about 19 years old, he went to the Civil War.
And up to that point, he basically lived a pretty sheltered life, growing up on a beautiful farm in the middle of Ohio.
Naive to the realities of life, his eyes were forced open, and he saw too much. Jack fell victim to the horror and the disparity of battle. It is well documented that the Civil War was a brutal and unforgiving turning point for thousands of young men. It really comes as no surprise that Jack's life completely derailed. At such an impressionable age, he was taught to kill. Dealing death was an option.
During intense fighting, he was wounded. Took a bullet in the leg. And as that war ended for Jack, another began.
Let's see here. There was a couple things were found from this house, and one of them was a journal from his mother, and she wrote in there after he came back from the war, "The extent of what has been taken from our son, I cannot bear to imagine. We cry for lives lost, mourn for our husbands, sons who will never return. I struggle to decide which the worst fate, having a beautiful flower cut in full bloom and tossed from the garden, or watching that same flower wilt and fade, helpless to prevent it." Kind of a little poet. But okay, so, in the years that after Jack returned from the Civil War, he took a wife, and they had a little girl named Violet. She was born in 1869. He inherited the family estate in 1873 after the untimely death of his parents from cholera. They died only 5 months apart from each other. And the last entry in his mother's journal before she died reads, that bullet, that war, will eventually take my son. He tries to keep our farm alive without his father, but he has limits. I truly believe our lovely angel Violet, Jack's daughter, is what keeps him with us. I feel him fading. God bless our family. So that was her last little entry before she died.
Creepy.
Okay, now they found a ledger. I guess there's all these records that we can look into and do some research.
And the interesting thing here is Jack left notes in the margins. Things like what went on in his head and his version of a journal, so to speak. Very insightful.
And then his wife got pregnant a second time.
With the farm and his mental health beginning to fail, he had little time for anything else.
He knew it wasn't his. I guess he found out that it was the farm hands, because he, would catch them having their little secret eye
Welcome
moment.
to Frontier Jerry Springer.
But anyway, he lost it then. So I guess he went ahead and he kills them.
That was it for Jack. We all have our limits.
Basically hacks up the farmhand and then went and killed his wife. So, I mean, this guy's really messed up. Let's see here. So that's where it gets all... That's the crazy part of it. I guess, too, what's really interesting is that his daughter, Violet, saw the entire thing. And she told the authorities everything that happened. Where they found Violet, she was in the basement of this house, of this estate. They found a chair. They found a rope. But they never found Jack Prince. His body's never been recovered. Let's see. That poor girl, Violet.
Sweetie, where you going?
Jesus. When I was little, I heard this noise one night. The noise came from the basement, and I figured my dad was down there, so I just went down there to see what he was doing. When I made it downstairs, I found my father hanging from the ceiling. I guess he was wiring the ceiling, I don't know, wiring lights or doing whatever he did up there, and as he slipped off the chair, and I was too small. But he hung himself. And my mom, she found me in the basement. I guess kind of like how Violet was found. You know, I don't care too much for basements anymore. Oh my God. From that night, I've blamed myself for what happened. I could never talk about it before. This is the first time.
This is the story. Something still exists in that house.
I can feel it.
In my dreams, the way things are pointing in the same direction lately. This is the story.
There's been 3 families there since the time of Jack Prince, and all of them disappeared.
Is this even remotely a good idea?
Something is there, Chris. I think we should do it. Jake?
All right, but we better win an award for this.
Chris?
Are you forgetting I'm management for a reason? I don't go in the trenches anymore.
Yeah, besides, the big guy might mess his dockers.
Nice. I'll tell you what, I'll go just so you have a shoulder to cry on when you get scared when you hear the noises. How's that? I'll tell you what, Michelle, this better be the big one.
He said the big one.
Cute.